You have probably seen the 75 Hard Challenge all over social media, but is this really the best way to build healthy habits and mental success? As a fitness expert and a medical health professional, I'm here to tell you why I'm not a fan of the 75 Hard Challenge. Let's break it down. So first, let's talk about the rules of this challenge, so that way we all understand what this includes. So for this challenge, there are 5 rules. There are no substitutions, no days off. If you break or do not follow any of the rules for the 75 days, you have to start all over from day 1. So the first rule is following a strict diet. This can be any diet of the participant's choice. So they get to choose whether they want to follow like vegetarian, paleo, Mediterranean, whatnot, but not breaking that diet for 75 days, and no cheat meals for those 75 days, and no alcohol. This diet plan must include. The second rule is 2 45-minute workouts every day, and one of those workouts must be outside each day. The third rule is drinking 1 gallon of water every day. The fourth rule is reading 10 pages of a nonfiction or self-improvement book every day, and this cannot be an audiobook. The fifth rule is that you must take a progress photo every day. People are doing this challenge to test their mental toughness, to push themselves for creating strict habits, for a sense of accomplishment and pride in completing the 75-day challenge. And then it often gets paired with like a quick jump start to fitness, weight loss, etc. And I also think that's why a lot of people are jumping on this bandwagon. It has really gotten popular in the last year or two because of social media. I've heard it's all over TikTok. I don't have TikTok. And then Instagram and YouTube. So we're seeing it all over the place with people posting about their stories, journeys, trying this challenge. It's also popular because people do really like that idea of discipline, mental toughness, self-improvement, and sharing their journey, things like that. And then again, it also looks like a fast track to weight loss. So there are a few problems and my criticisms with this 75 Hard Challenge, being an exercise professional and medical provider. So my first criticism with this challenge is that it has an all or nothing approach. So if someone slips up one day or not able to do one of the things one day, they have to start over, which I do not agree with. I'd much rather have someone create changes that can be incorporated into everyday life for a lifelong effect and long-term goals and something that's sustainable, rather than having these 5 rules that someone must follow that are quite unrealistic to be maintained for a duration of time. My second criticism with this challenge is that it is very unrealistic for most people to meet these 5 things every day for 75 days straight, especially for people who work full-time and especially for working parents. I feel like this is not realistic, and doing this challenge would set someone up for failure right off the bat. Honestly, working full-time, I work 45 plus hours per week with my full-time job and career, and there is no way that I would incorporate 2 45 minutes workout per day for 75 days as a commitment. That would not be realistic. I would not obtain that. And as an exercise professional and someone who really is passionate about working out and being healthy, and then also I feel like if I worked out 90 minutes a day for 75 days, I would hate exercise. We want people to enjoy their exercise and have this be a lifelong healthy habit again, and not hate what they do and not hate movement. And I feel like doing that for so long, I'm not sure that people will continue to work out after that goal is met if they make it those 75 days, 90 minutes per day of exercise. 2 workouts per day for 75 days is actually not healthy. I do not recommend that. Rest days, days off from exercise are very much needed, especially when we're doing more like high intensity workouts or strength training. Rest days are super important. I personally only work out 3 to 4 days per week, and I take the rest as rest days. Number 1, because of life and work, and number 2, because I'm sore. I need to recover. I need to stretch, have some downtime, relax, unwind. This is really good for my stress management and cortisol levels, and help me recover and train better for that next exercise and that next workout, and get the most benefit out of my exercise rather than working out so much every single day. I would not see the success and have those same benefits of exercising just a few days per week. Also, the fact that this challenge requires someone to work out outside for one of those 45-minute sessions every day can also be unrealistic. We live in Wisconsin. There is snow and ice for a good portion of the year. Oftentimes, it is not safe to work out outside on the ice because of falls and injuries that can happen. And then also with the freezing cold wind chill, it's not safe to be outside for a long time. Storms, rain, very hot extreme weather, not safe to work outside sometimes. And then also, like, for example, we had the Canada fires come down, like the smog. So we had air advisory, poor air quality for quite a while here in Wisconsin. My son actually at his school had indoor recess for a few days because it was really dangerous to like be outside, be doing activity outside. So like, again, I would have failed that challenge because it wouldn't have been safe to work out outside. But I'm not doing the challenge, just saying like, that's not realistic for everyone every day throughout their life to work out outside. Another negative part of this challenge is that drinking a gallon of water per day. This is not individualized. For some people, drinking a gallon of water is unsafe, actually. So water, fluid intake, hydration should be personalized. The standard goal of water intake is not appropriate for every individual. And then just in general, this challenge is not individualized just all around. So this is just a general 5 rules for everyone, which I don't like. Everyone is at a different point in their life and should start at a different level. So for most people, just taking the exercise, for example, if someone's not working out right now on a regular basis, starting out working out 90 minutes a day for 75 days is not safe, is not individualized, is not realistic, and should not be started there. So that's one of my problems also with this challenge. This challenge was not created by a medical professional or a fitness expert. 75 Hard was actually created by an influencer and entrepreneur, Andy Frisella, I think is how you say his name, which does not have any medical background and is not a medical professional. There is no scientific evidence or research on this program at all. I will tell you there is research and evidence showing that moderate intensity aerobic exercise, 30 minutes per day, 5 days per week, and strength training, 2 days per week, does have benefit for our health. So there is science behind exercise recommendations, but again, this 75 Hard challenge does not take any of those scientific evidence and recommendations into account. I don't know where the 90 minutes per day for 75 days straight of exercise came from. This does not have any medical backing or scientific evidence. This program does not allow for any flexibility, does not account for everyday life. We have life. Life happens. Unexpected things come up. People get sick. People get hurt. I don't know where, like, taking a day off is just fine. If we slip up one day and don't have success, that's fine. We want to look at what happened, the last few days, the last week. Wow, what did we accomplish? How can we grow from there? So again, kind of going back to this all or nothing approach. I don't like it. If I got sick and I don't feel like exercising, it is not safe to exercise sometimes when we're ill. So we have to listen to our bodies. If I'm sore one day, sometimes I tailor that exercise or do something different instead based on how my body feels. It is important to listen to our body and tailor what we're doing to that appropriately. For example, I get migraines a lot, so I'll have best intentions to, have a workout schedule for the week and stick to that. But if I have a migraine one day and it's really bad at night and sometimes I can't work out, like I don't. Sometimes it's just stretching that day instead of doing my high intensity, like cardio and strength training and exercise that I had planned for that day. And that's okay because again, life happens. So we don't have to be perfect because of this program. So going back to 2 sessions a day of 45-minute exercise sessions each, that kind of sets us up for injury, especially if someone's not used to working out on a daily, regular basis. So we're kind of prone to injury injuries and failure just because of that, which is not safe. And then I also think that this program, because of the all or nothing approach, kind of sets us up for guilt or shame if we don't accomplish it, right? We're kind of seeing other people being successful or doing it, feel like, well, if we don't attain that or if we fail, not able to do that, kind of a shame or a guilt. Whereas in reality, we're all at a different level, different place in life. All of us have different strengths and weaknesses. So it doesn't mean that we failed or anything. Again, we want those like healthy, safe, realistic, healthy habits that we can incorporate into our everyday life and progress as we live and grow from there. And then this program focuses on discipline over self-being. So being like disciplined, having to stick to these 5 things every day for 75 days, no matter what. It almost encourages burnout rather than healthy habits and success for the long term. And then this can promote an unhealthy body image by having someone take a picture every day. Like that can be really triggering for some people. And for some people, I don't recommend taking pictures every day like that to look for progress and progression and things. It can be really triggering and bothersome for some to take a picture every day. So I don't like that aspect either. And again, these habits are not sustainable or safe long-term. This program is just really overwhelming for the majority of people and doesn't focus on building sustainable habits. Like I said earlier, if someone's working out 90 minutes a day for 75 days, do you think they're going to continue exercising after that point? Or if they've ate perfectly for 75 days, are they going to slip right back into their old ways of eating? Because that's probably really difficult to manage for 75 days and to obtain. Again, I'd rather have people just work on small, healthy habits and progress those over time rather than kind of slipping right back into their old ways after these 75 days are over. So instead, I have a few takeaways and different approach to helping achieve mental toughness and have long-term healthy habit success. So the first tip that I have is building sustainable, healthy habits for long-term success. This is going to look different for everyone. You want to build habits and things that will fit into your life. So again, that's going to be tailored to everyone individually, and no one can make that decision and what that would look like for you except for you. You're the only one who can make that change and that goal and that decision based on where you're at right now. So maybe that looks like incorporating just a few minutes of movement every day. Maybe that's setting a goal of 10 minutes a day of exercise 5 days per week. Maybe that's setting a goal of meal planning on the weekend, doing some meal prep on the weekend to set yourself up with some healthy meals for the week. The second tip that I have for you is knowing that mental toughness does not come from doing extreme plans like this. We all are mentally tough in just challenges that we have gone through and lived through and grown from in everyday life. So mental toughness actually comes from listening to yourself, listening to your body. What does it need? It's caring for your body, caring for yourself physically and mentally. That's where mental toughness arises from and builds someone. Also knowing when to rest, when to adapt our goals and challenges and things over time helps build that mental toughness. When it comes to nutrition, I personally like the 80-20 rule. I personally stick to a full plant-based nutrition. I don't eat any meat. I eat so much fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, as I always talk about, eating those real foods 80% of the time. And then, 10% or 20% of the time, giving yourself treats, things that you're craving, things that really bring you pleasure. For me, that's my healthy cookie dough shakes every night. They have dark chocolate in it. The cookie dough is sweetened with maple syrup. I love those. Those help me keep me accountable, but also realistic in like, hey, I want this treat. This makes me happy. Same with my coffee creamer every day. I love the oatmeal cookie kind. It has sugar in it. And, I have a little bit every day. That's okay because the rest of my nutrition is good 80-90% of the time. And we don't have to be perfect when it comes to our nutrition. Regarding the water and the hydration, I personally like focusing on and recommending just drinking less sugar-sweetened beverages like sodas or less artificially sweetened beverages like diet sodas. And then yes, replacing those with water. That would be best. But again, it's an individualized approach when it comes to hydration and how much water is recommended per person. It's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to water consumption each day. Another tip that I have for you is goals are great. Goals are wonderful. but setting realistic goals for everyone. So again, it's not this one size fits all. If you want to learn more about goals, I have an amazing video on goal setting and setting realistic goals on an individualized level. So I will put that link to that video right here on goal setting. So definitely check that out after this video. And then when it comes to goals, if we don't meet our goals, so if we think we set a realistic goal and we don't accomplish that, reevaluate, look back at that success, what went well, what didn't work, and how can we tailor or change that goal to have success, rather than like beating ourselves mentally. It didn't work, we failed, and having to start all over from day one. That's not what we want. That's not the approach that I recommend taking. And then lastly, I do like one of these goals from the 75 Hard Challenge, the reading. I am a huge avid reader. I love reading, if you didn't know that already. I read every day. I think it's wonderful. But I will say that if I didn't have the chance to read, I often listen to audiobooks, or actually I listen to a lot of audiobooks when driving because I can't sit down and read for an extended period of time every day. And I always read before bed. Oftentimes I fall asleep reading before I've hit 10 pages, and that's okay. That's me listening to my body and saying, hey, I'm tired today. I need to sleep. So I'm not going to force myself to stay awake to read 10 pages every day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And then honestly, I rarely read nonfiction books. I often read fiction books, storybooks. I love the murder mystery. My brain is going all the time at work. I am thinking constantly. I'm always reading, learning more throughout the day. So personally, I don't want to read a self-improvement book at the end of the day or every day. I want a story. I want something fun, something for my mind to wander, and that's okay. So again, the 75 Hard Challenge would not fit into my life, nor would I try reading a nonfiction book every day for 75 days, because that would not be a realistic goal for me and not something that I would want to obtain or do. So instead of doing 75 hard, I'm all about lifelong, sustainable, realistic, healthy habits. We are all humans who are imperfect. We are perfectly imperfect humans, and it is not realistic to try to set these 5 goals every day to do perfectly for 75 days straight. If someone is not able to do this, that does not mean that someone is not mentally or physically tough. There are many more things in life that show our strength than having to do a 75-day challenge. Toughness actually comes from bouncing back from everyday life challenges and struggles, and we all have faced those. Everyone is on their own path in life, and for most, the 75 Hard Challenge is not realistic and does not mean that someone is not mentally tough if they do not try or complete this challenge. I actually have one more video that I'm going to share with you that I think would be really helpful, and I'm going to put it right here. It is on building healthy habits and setting yourself up for a success for the long term. So definitely check that one out next. So that's going to be all for this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.